is extremely important in this regard. And here we will provide the senator with very specific cases of torture that the Vietnamese government uses against political as well as religious prisoners. These are very concrete examples as well as techniques and other methods that they use to continue torturing people in Vietnam. But presently there are two bills pending in the Senate. One is the Vietnam Human Rights Bill, which the senator should be very familiar with because he voted for it in the House. And the other one is the Vietnam Human Rights Sanctions Act. That is being introduced, or was introduced by Senator Cornyn. So we would appreciate his co-sponsoring of those two bills. And also, I'm not sure where his position on the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Do you know his position on that?
Yes, he's come out for it.
Okay. Well, we would like that, even though he is supporting the TPP, we would like for him to make a great effort to encourage Vietnam to establish a system of laws to protect laborers in Vietnam. Because right now, Vietnam does not have a very specific and very concrete system of laws to protect laborers and workers. They are being abused by various companies. Working conditions are extremely poor. There isn't a civil society infrastructure in order to allow workers to speak out against abuses. So it is very problematic in regards to laborers having the rights in order to protect themselves. And here again, I as a Republican congressman, I recognize is that as a Republican policy standpoint, we don't support the unions, but the situation in Vietnam is different. There isn't the ability to unionize in Vietnam. There isn't a such thing as organized labor. There isn't anything like that. If a laborer were to speak out against her boss or something, they would be beaten or what have you. Maybe even thrown into prison for speaking out against immoral labor laws. So you don't have the same situation in Vietnam as the unions being all powerful here with respect to labor in the United States. So since the senator has already come out to support it, at least we can encourage him to speak out against labor abuses in Vietnam and make sure that Vietnam addresses many of those issues. But at the same time, we would like to ask him to support the Vietnam Human Rights Bill as well as the Vietnam Human Rights Sanctions Act. The Vietnam Human Rights Bill, I know for sure that he voted for in the House. And also tomorrow, we would like to invite you and along with the senator's staff. There's going to be a reception at the CVC auditorium at noon. All of your staff is invited. Come have some free Vietnamese food. But at the same time, there are other things that he represents the Arizona delegation.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
He would like to have certain points that he would like to say.
Yeah, you are about the congressman. He just explained to you. Then I present for the Arizona Vietnamese community in Arizona. Then I formed the CAMSA in home there. And that actually then why the reason we are here and continue to promote the human rights for the people in Vietnam. Right now, then we are the Vietnamese community in the U.S., then we still the support for them over there. We had a freedom speaking here, but over there is not. So if they speak out and they get a prison, then we have a lot of document over there and the proof of the torture and abuse the prisoner over there. And even then they will have the labor force for some of the prisoner over there. So, and right now in Vietnam government, they want to do TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership with the U.S. So we would like to propose so our voice from here need to negotiate with them, get a more conditional with them before, so we can pass agreement with them. So that one we want to. And another thing that we want to, they should be free for all political and religion prisoner over there before they had a more trade with the U.S.
I'm happy to take that up with the senator.
Thank you.
See if that is something you can get behind.
Yeah, right now the push for human rights is being taken up by Senator Cornyn here in the Senate, as well as Senator David Vitter and Bozeman in the Senate. Senator Cornyn introduced the Vietnam Sanctions Act, which is basically similar to the Russian Sanctions Act and the Iran Sanctions Act. The language are basically the same because it was taken from the courts. So we have already similar bills that passed the Senate against Russia and against Iran. And we'd like the same bill to be passed against Vietnam.
Bring that up with them.
Okay, great.
Senator.
Okay. And besides that, the two bills, the TPP. What other committees is the senator in besides the Foreign Affairs?
The Judiciary Committee,
Okay.
Aging, and
Right. I know that he's working on immigration reform. Is that correct? Yes. So one of the issues in regards to immigration reforms that we would like him to look into, and again, this is something that I believe the Republican view of immigration would be beneficial, is that right now, for naturalization, there is already a system of laws that would allow immigrants to take the civics exam in their own, with an interpreter. I believe the requirements is that you have to be 65 and live here for 10 years, or 50 and live here for 20. Because if you satisfy those requirements, then you can have an interpreter during naturalization exams. We would like to see whether or not the senator can look at lowering the requirement instead of 65 and 10 years, maybe consider 55 years old and 10 years. And again, these are much older people who want to become U.S. citizens. They are legal permanent residents, and because of here again, many of these people are victims of torture. Let me just give you an example. My father, for instance, was in the education camp, and my mother supported my father. And many of these people here, they have families who were in detention, or people who must care for their family members in detention. So oftentimes they suffer certain post-traumatic syndromes because of that ordeal. And oftentimes it's very hard for them to study and remember, especially in a foreign language. It would be difficult for them to even remember in their own language. And now to require them to study and remember in a foreign language is very difficult. Extremely difficult for people who suffer from post-traumatic stress syndrome. And here again, these are not illegal aliens. They are legal green card holders in the United States who wants to be U.S. citizens but for the requirements of the civics exams in the English language, which is extremely difficult for him to pass. So we would like for him to take a look at that requirement. Maybe, and this is an older generation who are very anti-communist, very personally responsible. Also, because they have been through the communist government, they are for small government. So here again, you have a very vibrant pool of people who would want to be U.S. citizens.
Right.
And again, this is something that we have already. When I was in the House, I discussed this matter with the House Republicans leadership, and I'm approaching the same issue with respect to the Senate Republicans. And here again, when you stress small government, when you stress personal responsibility, those are what the Republicans support.
Right.
So, and here again, you have a very large pool of people who would like to become U.S. citizens, but for these citizen requirements for them to do it in English.
I don't handle immigration, but
Mhm.
as you know, it's passed the Senate
Right.
bill that we passed, and
Right.
now it's waiting in the House. But
I'm pretty sure it's going to be kicked back here.
yeah,
Some things that will come back here in the
Yeah.
Senate. They're not going to pass that bill.
exactly.
They're not going to pass the Senate bill in the
Not,
House.
not in its form.
Yeah.
So,
So it's going to come back here,
right.
be kicked around, and I'm pretty sure the senator's going to have to address the issue again.
Right. So, but I'll definitely bring that to our
Okay, great.
Right, thank you.
attention.
Anybody else have anything else to say?
Well, we just want to say thanks to give us this opportunity to be here,
Absolutely.
to bring our message to you.
Well, we appreciate you all coming in.
You can see a lot of
Tell
people.
Senator
from
Fleck I
Vietnamese
said hello.
I will.
We serve with each other in the House.
Yeah.
Just say Joseph Gao says hello. He'll bring you away.
Well, I'm sure he would have said so himself, but he's going to a hearing right now.
Okay, great. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Oh.